This trick requires setting up your camera to get just the right angles, along with using a good amount of special effects with Filmora. First thing I wanted to do was to film the water bottle. So I moved the camera kind of in the same position as where I was sitting on the couch. So I was looking at an angle. That way when I turned my head to look, it would look like I was looking in the right direction. Also, I set the camera, which was just my phone, by the way, a Google Pixel 4a, to 4K and 60 frames per second, in case I wanted to do some slow-mo, which I ended up using a little bit of. Now that I've got the angle set up, I noticed that my kitchen counter is a mess. So I just wanted to remove some of this junk that's on everybody's kitchen counter and just make it a little less distracting. I also scaled it up slightly for the actual video. I left the camera rolling, and I knew I was going to have a bottle shake in there somewhere. So that's me practicing trying to get this bottle to shake while I'm filming, because I figured if I got a good shake, I'd use it. And there was a pretty good one right there. I believe that's the one I actually used. Let's do one more. That's the one I used right there. Now that I had the bottle still and the bottle shaking, all I had to do was do a couple up and downs, you know, like, oh, I'm too old and lazy to get out of the chair. I turned my head, okay, so I'm looking that same direction I pointed the camera earlier. And then I make some very hard moves with my hand. Now right there I froze. I froze my hand, and I had someone else place the bottle in my hand. And I kept my hand as still as I possibly could. And then she came over and put the water bottle. Then I froze. I froze myself, and then I finished the video right there. And the rest we'll see in Filmora. Alright, let's go ahead and just scroll over a little bit. You've seen the footage. Now we'll show you how I did some of my effects. So this little scene I cut out of the first video, and it took me a while to get just the right place to cut it out. And the idea here is when I turn my head to look, you see what I'm looking at. And then I did a simple keyframe and scaled up, right? And then boom, right back out. Now I didn't need to replace the footage underneath because I dropped this on top. It naturally became the dominant clip. So there it is, and then boom, I'm back. Okay, and the keyframing, I don't need to go over that again, I don't think. I mean, if you have any problems with keyframing, check out my other videos. I go into a lot of details on how to use keyframing. This was just a very simple scale up, starting there, and scaled it up to there, and then I'm out. All right, let's scroll on across. And I'm going to expand the timeline even further so that you can see every little thing that I did. All right, right here was a little bit of timing. Now, in case you didn't know this, you can use this button or this button to go frame by frame like that. Or you can use your keyboard frame by frame, and that's what I usually do. I use my keyboard frame by frame, and I found where my hand extended right before it jerked back. See right there? And that's where I placed my first effect. And this is an element called Electricity 07. I modified it a little bit by scaling it, because originally this this image is, it starts in the center of the screen, and it's really big, and it's a long effect. I cut it to do what I wanted it to do. 1, 2 frames and gone, because when my hand comes back, I don't want it to be there. So we'll watch that again real quick. See it? Boom. Then I just did the same thing over here. Frame by frame. Hand comes out. And now how did I get that to match the perfect size? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. Did you know you can copy elements, copy effects, and copy anything you want? So I highlighted this. I'll show you an example of how I did it. Place the timeline where you want the copy to go. Come back over here and just hit Control-C. Copy it. Now, click over here. Place your timeline where you want it, and go Control-V. And there it is. Pretty cool. So that way I had two identical elements of the same length, scale, everything. All right, that was your tip of the day, I suppose. You can copy with Control-C, Control-V. Just make sure you place your playhead where you want the copy to go first. All right, so I got a lot of effects going over here, and you can see what they are. This is realistic smoke effects element number 15. This is the same electricity 07 because I liked it, but in here you can actually see I extended it. And here is part of that original water bottle that I showed you earlier where I took my finger and shook it. So I cut my finger out of it, I scaled it in a little bit, and I got some smoke coming from the bottom, I got the lightning flying around, and of course my hand is not in the frame because I cut it right after my hand came out of the picture. And I let that smoke fly. You see that? I left a little lingering smoke from the effect because I thought it was kind of cool. So as this smoke, and then it's still there, and it just kind of fades out. Okay, now why is this not moving? And I'm moving the playhead. Well, look really close right here. I slowed this part down, way down. Why? Because when the other person handed me the bottle, the water bottle, their hand was in it, but yet part of the bottle entered the frame. Okay. Now, how did I make that happen? Well, that's called a dissolve transition. So I slowed it down, put a dissolve, and then remember I told you I just kind of froze myself. So I didn't do a screen freeze here, a screen capture. I just held my hand still, and then I went right into the remainder of it for me being victorious because I was so lazy. I got the water bottle without getting up. So there's the whole effect right there. You can see it coming in off the screen. Now I'm going to show it to you without the dissolve. I'm just going to delete the dissolve. So now you can see what's really happening. Slow-mo coming in right there, and then boom, in my hand. Now that doesn't look right. If you just go back and play that, that looks kind of like it almost somebody threw me the bottle. I wanted the bottle to kind of fly over to me. And for that, I very simply went to transitions, favorites, dissolve, because I've had this program 3 or 4 years, and dissolve has always been in my favorites. It is one of my absolute favorite transitions. I use it an awful lot, and now it's going to look quite a bit different. Look at that. You can even start to see the opacity. So what I did is I went in here and I unchecked include trimmed frames. I took those frames out. See your hand? See your hand coming in? I took those frames out. Now there's another trick you probably didn't know with Filmora. You can modify almost every transition. You can do things with everything in here. Take the time to learn it and see what they do. And you'll be surprised what can happen. Look at that. Look at that trick. Look at that dissolve. Is that awesome or what? And anyway, there it is. And voila. That's it, guys. I hope you liked that. I hope you got something out of it. That was fun to make. Didn't take all that long. It took probably took more time to set the camera up the right angles and clean the counter than it did to actually make this video. So yet another amazing effect using Filmora. And we'll see you real soon. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me some comments, and we'll see you again. See you soon.